Today we will discuss about the mechanism of hormone action. So all of you know by this time, hormone, it is a chemical substance which are produced in very minute amount. They may exert their action either locally or can go into distant site and produce some biological functions. So hormones, they can be subclassified into, according to their chemical nature, they can be subclassified into chemical hormones, that is some peptide hormones, they can be some steroid hormones, or also they can be some pure chemicals. So what are they? According to their presence of receptors, we can subclassify the hormones. So first type of hormone, that is whose receptors are surface receptor, that is the cell surface receptor. So these are specifically these hormones, they are more or less peptide, either peptide or protein hormones, because they cannot easily penetrate the lipid bilayer of cell membrane. So that is why their receptors are present in the cell surface. Particularly important, those hormones, they are secreted, those chemical messengers, they are secreted by the nerves. Example, acetylcholine, noradrenaline, leptin, etc. So surface cell receptors are a type of receptor which are present on the cell surface. Second type of receptor, it will be the cytoplasmic receptors. So those type of hormones which are particularly steroid, they will be able to very easily penetrate the cell membrane, so they can easily reach the cytoplasm and they can attach with the cytoplasmic receptors, and then they can go for a chemical conformational change, so there will be biological action. And finally, there will be some nuclear receptors. So these kind of hormones, they are particularly chemical hormones like thyroxine, triiodothyronine. These hormones, they can easily penetrate the cell membrane, they can easily penetrate the nuclear membrane, and they can attach with their receptors which is present in the genetic material, so that there will be transcription of further new chemicals which may exert their biological function. So what are the gross mechanism for all kind of hormones? They will have to, all the hormones, they will have to come and attach with a receptor. So there will be formation of hormone receptor complex, and these complex, they may lead to three things. Number one, they may lead to formation of another type of messenger, that is known as second messenger. What are the classic example of the second messenger? That is cyclic AMP or calcium. They can form the second messenger which may exert the main physiological effect. They may lead to phosphorylation or activation or inactivation of different enzymes, and also they can lead to new formation, new production, that is transcription of different substances by modifying the genetic signaling. So these are the basic gross mechanism. Now if what we have decided, that hormone will come, receptor will get activated, there will be these three actions. It might occur that receptor might lead to deactivation, and that deactivation will lead to inactivation of enzymes or reduced transcription of any genetic material, genetic signaling, or there might be reduced amount of the second messenger system. So not always hormone receptor complex will lead to activation. Inactivation might also occur. Upon attachment with the receptor, until and unless this hormone is attached with the receptor, their biological function will continue. But eventually, what happens? Either these receptors they itself get internalized if it is a cell surface receptor, so there will be reduction in hormonal action, or this receptor may permanently get deactivated upon forming a hormone receptor complex, or another thing might have happened, this receptor might go into autolysis, so lysosome might engulf this receptor and lyse them. So finally the hormonal action will cease after some period of time. Now let's discuss one by one. First of all, most important is the cell surface receptors. Now cell surface receptors, they can be of two varieties. One variety that might lead to activation or inactivation of ion channels, or activation or inactivation of enzymes, and another type that is known as the enzyme linked receptors. These enzyme linked receptors, they are either enzyme by itself, either they have got own intrinsic enzymatic activity, or they are very closely attached to an enzyme which will get activated directly upon attachment of upon formation of hormone receptor complex. So this ion channel linked or enzyme linked receptor, the classical example will be the G protein coupled receptor. An enzyme linked receptor, the classical example is the leptin receptor. Now we will go into this one by one. So GPCR receptor, that is G protein coupled receptor. GPCR receptors, they have got two types. There are two types. GS, that is the G stimulatory, and GI, that is the G inhibitory. So G protein coupled receptor again can be of two types: stimulatory type, inhibitory type. Stimulatory type, upon attachment with its ligand, it will go for stimulation of this final function, and inhibitory type will inhibit its final function. But all the G protein coupled receptors, their chemical and physical structure are almost same. Now, if we draw it, say this is the cell membrane. So this is the cell membrane. Any G protein coupled receptor, it will have one receptor site and one site where G protein it is coupled. G protein it is a trimeric, heterotrimeric structure. It will have beta, alpha, and one gamma segment. This G protein, it has got one GDP attached with this alpha group. So GDP, when it is attached with the alpha group, they will maintain its heterotrimeric structure, and they will remain attached with this G protein coupled receptor. Now G protein coupled receptor, it has got 7 intermingling chain, polypeptide chain, which will pass through 7 times through this cell membrane. So how will that look like? Finally 7. So this is the final structure of a G protein coupled receptor. It will have a receptor site, 7 polypeptide chains passing through the cell membrane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and finally one internal site for attachment of the G protein. G protein, it is a heterotrimeric structure with alpha, beta and gamma, 3 structures. This alpha is attached with GDP and this GDP will maintain its stable structure. Now upon attachment with a hormone, that is with its ligand, there will be conformational change in this G protein coupled receptor. So what will happen? They will release this G protein, so that G protein will be disintegrated into alpha, beta and gamma. So alpha, beta and gamma, and this GDP will convert into GTP. So this alpha segment along with its GTP, it is the active form, right? So this is the active form of the enzyme. Now this GTP coupled alpha protein, it can go either attach with the ion channel and open up the ion channel, particularly important at the calcium channels, sodium and potassium channels. What else they can do? They also can go and attach with some enzymes. So what will happen there? These alpha proteins, they have got their own intrinsic GTPase activity. So this GTP, it will convert into GDP, and that inorganic protein will phosphorylate that inactive enzyme, and that inactive enzyme will become active and it will resume its physiological function inside the cell. And upon detachment with GTP and substitution this GTP with GDP, this alpha, beta and gamma will reattach again, and it will come back and attach with this very site, this very GTP binding site. So if the ligand is present still that very time, there will be another cycle of activation. If the ligand has already passed away, ligand has already autolyzed, so this thing will again become nascent. So these are the mechanism of ion channel linked receptors, particularly important the G protein coupled receptor. One important enzyme this GTP attached alpha segment activates is the phospholipid C, and that phospholipid C enzyme will lead to activation of adenylyl cyclase enzyme, and that adenylyl cyclase, they will give rise to cyclic AMP. That is one very important second messenger. Now let's go into the enzyme linked proteins. So second kind of thing, that is the enzyme linked. So enzyme linked these are a couple of receptors which are present again on the cell surface, but interestingly they do not pass that 7-time cycle like the G protein coupled receptor. They are usually either monomer or dimer. They pass through the cell membrane only once, right? Now when we have discussed the enzyme linked protein, it has got either its own intrinsic enzymatic activity or they are very closely linked with the enzyme. Upon attachment with the ligand, they will activate it. So this is, say for example, if we take the leptin receptor, we will see a dimeric structure where 2 receptors are attached there, leptin receptors, and they pass through the cell membrane only once. They are attached with another type of protein, another type of enzyme, that is known as JAK kinase. Particularly 2 varieties. So this is the leptin receptor and this is the JAK2. JAK kinase, JAK, it is a protein kinase. J stands for Janussin. So this is the Janussin kinase. Janussin kinase, it is a type of kinase enzyme that comes from the family of tyrosine kinase. So they will activate, they will phosphorylate different enzymes, and they will produce some chemical structures, chemical proteins, which will lead to transcription of different genes. So what they will do upon attachment, when the ligand, that is the leptin, comes and attach with this leptin receptor, they will phosphorylate this JAK kinase. So phosphorylation will occur. This phosphorylated Janussin kinase will lead to formation of, they will lead to phosphorylation of another type of protein, that is known as STAT. So what is STAT? STAT stands for substance for signal transducer and transcription activator. Right. So upon attachment with the ligand, this leptin receptor, they will lead to activation of JAK kinase, that is Janus kinase, which comes from the tyrosine kinase family, and they will phosphorylate this signal transducer and transcription activator protein. And this protein, they will go and they will attach with the promoter site in the chromosome. Okay, so what will happen upon activation of this STAT? The promoter site of the chromosome will activate, and there will be formation of multiple types of proteins. Among them, some are enzymes, some will, and that will exert their physiological action. So leptin enzyme, it is a classical example of the enzyme linked receptor. It has got its own enzymatic activity. It is a phosphorylate himself. It phosphorylates the JAK kinase, that is Janussin kinase, and that will activate the STAT. Now leptin, it is produced from the fat cells. It is very important for regulation of our food intake, regulation of nutrition, and all these functions, they are produced by formation of finally this signal transducer and activator of transcription, and finally they will attach with the promoter site and different type of proteins will be produced. So these are the cell surface receptors present for hormonal action. Second variety of receptor which are present, they are for mainly the steroid hormones. Examples are those sex steroids, those hormones ACTH, those CRH, that is corticotropin releasing hormones, those mineralocorticoids, and most of the steroid hormones, they works via their receptor which is present in the cytoplasm. Because steroid, it is very fat soluble, it usually easily pass through the cell membrane and come and attach with their respective receptor inside the cytoplasm. So what will they do? Say this is the cell, this is the nucleus. So those steroid hormones, they will come inside directly. Say this is the hormone, they will attach with their receptor in the cytoplasm, and this hormone receptor complex again go inside the nucleus, and they again will attach this hormone receptor complex, they will attach to their specific promoter site, and this specific promoter site will lead to transcription and translation of these hormonal signals. So some particular genes will get transcribed. So then there will be formation of mRNA, and then this mRNA will work on the endoplasmic reticulum, and there will be formation of new proteins. Now one might wonder, all these steroid hormones, all the hormones, they reach almost every cells of our body, almost every tissue. Genetic material is also fixed. We have got all of our cells have got almost same genetic structures. So why a single hormone exerts its action on a single type of receptor? Because number one, these receptors, they are very much specific about the cell. So all of the cell will not have the same receptors. Secondly, this promoter site, they are also unique to particular cells. So specific cells will have specific type of receptor. Also, if they have the specific type of promoter, only then this steroid hormone can come inside and can work on this kind of situation. So there is transcription and translation. If the receptor is not present in any cell, or if the promoter site is not present, these hormones, they might enter the cell, but they will not be able to exert any kind of physiological action. So this goes the second variety, that is where the receptor is present in the cell cytoplasm. And finally comes the third variety, where the receptor is nuclear. The classical example of this variety of hormone are the T3 and T4, that is thyroxine and triiodothyronine. So these things, they will directly pass in the cell nucleus. They will pass through the cell membrane, go to the cytoplasm, then pass through the cytoplasm and go inside the cell membrane. And they have got in their genetic material, in our genetic material, they have got specific promoter site receptor. These are the promoter site and they have got their receptor on the specific promoter sites. So when this T3 and T4 comes and attach with the receptor or activate the receptor, this promoter site will get activated. So there will be translation of this genetic material. So there will be formation of mRNA and then formation of array of chemicals. So what will be the function of these chemicals? They will exert all the physiological function of T3 and T4, like increasing the metabolic rate, increasing the heart rate, and all these things. So these are the three types of receptors. So in our previous discussion, we have discussed about the mechanism of hormone action. So let's have a little recapitulation. So mechanism of hormone action, we know there are some cell surface receptors, some cytoplasmic receptors, and again third variety is the nuclear receptors. Classical example of cell surface receptors were the G protein coupled receptors. Also the enzyme link receptors like leptin receptors. Cytoplasmic receptors are those receptors which are present in the cytoplasm, and most commonly it is used by the steroid hormones. And nuclear receptors, they are particular sites, they are present as the promoter sites in the nucleus, and particularly thyroxine and triiodothyronine use this nuclear receptor maximally. Now what I have told already from our previous discussion, we know this cell surface receptor, particularly those enzyme linked receptor, they have got a tendency to produce a kind of chemical substances, particularly cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, calcium, etc. Whatever they produce, these are very important as a second messenger system. So actually surface receptors, they produce this cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, calcium, some phospholipid binding, like IP3, inositol triphosphate. Okay, so these things, they usually form, their primary action was to form these things, and these things, IP3, cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, calcium, all of them, they will exert the main physiological functions, which is which is the main physiological role of this hormones. So these chemical substances, they are known as the second messenger. So most important second messenger, they are either cyclic AMP or this phospholipid degradation products. Now, cyclic AMP. Let's discuss one by one. What about the cyclic AMP? I have discussed previously about the G protein. So what happens? Activation of G protein, that will lead to formation of alpha subunit plus GTP. This activated alpha subunit plus GTP, they will go and activate some adenylyl cyclase enzyme. This adenylyl cyclase, as the name suggests, they just chemically conform a linear protein, linear substance into cyclic. So what they will do, they will take some ATP, they will convert it into cyclic AMP. They can take some GTP, they can convert it into cyclic GMP. So this cyclic AMP, it is a very active chemical substance. Cyclic AMP, cyclic GMP, both of them, they share a common chemical structure and common chemical nature. So this cyclic AMP, they will exert a specific function by opening up. Particularly, they works by opening up some other ion channels. Particularly important, if you can remember that receptors, that DHPP receptors, you can remember this cyclic AMP mediated calcium channel opening were there. So this cyclic AMP, they will lead to increase in calcium level inside the cell by further doing their work. So cyclic AMP, by activation of adenylyl cyclase enzyme by the alpha subunit of the GTP, will exert its chemical function. Okay, so this goes your cyclic AMP. Another part is the phospholipid degradation product. Again, in case of G protein coupled receptors, so that alpha subunit, what they will do, they will activate an enzyme that is known as phospholipase C. They will, from this inactive phospholipase C, they will form the active phospholipase C. So this active phospholipase C, what do, they will degrade the phospholipid, that phospholipid present in the cell surface. They will degrade the cell membrane, they will degrade the phospholipid, and they will form inositol triphosphate and EAG molecule, that is the diacyl glycerol. So there will be formation of inositol triphosphate and diacyl glycerol. Again, both of this inositol triphosphate, it is a very potent enzyme inducer. So they can this inositol triphosphate, you can see there are 3 phosphates, inorganic phosphates are there. So they will convert into inositol monophosphate or inositol diphosphate, and this inorganic phosphate can phosphorylate a lot of inactive enzymes, and that can activate the enzyme. And this diacyl glycerol, it has got property, it can directly increase the transcription of certain type of proteins. So there will be increased enzyme production, and also they can activate some proteins. And one important thing here, this diacylglycerol, these things, both this diacylglycerol and IP3, they have got arachidonic acid in their structure. So all of you can remember all these two things, they have got arachidonic acid in their structure. So arachidonic acid, if you can remember, they are the precursor of the prostaglandins. So local production of prostaglandin and local increased action of prostaglandin might be exerted by formation of inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. So increase in prostaglandin, that may lead to local functionalities like increase inflammatory response, like increase in local temperature, local blood flow. All these things can lead to by formation of this inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. So this alpha subunit activation, they can activate the phospholipase C, and that active phospholipase C can produce this inositol triphosphate and diacylglycerol. There are a lot of hormones which will act via this second messenger system. So first second messenger system, most important the cyclic AMP, second most important the IP3 and DAG, that is phospholipid breakdown product, and third, but also a very important thing, that is the calcium, particularly calcium calmodulin complex. So third in messenger system, this is the calcium, particularly calcium calmodulin complex. So this calcium calmodulin complex, all of you know, I have already discussed those surface receptors which are ion channel coupled surface receptor. They can lead to opening up of different ion channels. So one important ion channel is a calcium ion channel. So upon opening up of this calcium ion channel, there will be influx of calcium from the outside, also from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. From these calciums, they will bind with either the calmodulin complex, calcium calmodulin complex, or this calcium can bind with the troponin C. So these things, calcium calmodulin complex and calcium troponin C complex, they can exert their physiological function. The most common function, you know, calcium calmodulin complex, that is the smooth muscle contraction. So this pathway, this thing, it is mainly used by a few local hormones like nitric oxide. Okay. So these nitric oxide, they will increase this calcium calmodulin complex, or this angiotensin 2. So this angiotensin 2 nitric oxide, also all of them, they exert their function by increasing or decreasing this calcium calmodulin complex. While present this calcium calmodulin complex, they will lead to contraction of the smooth muscles. So there will be contraction of the vascular smooth muscle, there might be contraction of the GI tract, there might be contraction of uterus, and all these things. So this is another important second messenger system. So up to this point, we have discussed the second messenger system. There are some minor second messenger systems are there, but for our discussion, it is important to know the cyclic AMP, the IP3 DAG pathway, and also the calcium.